All the Brazilians have been knocked out. All the Mexicans have been knocked out. Just Peru, Chile, and Colombia. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Curious Minds LE, we have our Peruvian Terran player representing Unidos por el Vicio. It's the Peruvian Terran. It is Tavo. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Curious Minds LE, we have El Mismísimo himself representing Exeritus Ignat. It's the Chilean Protoss. It is CristianoX. Oh boy. Cristiano, he's a very smart player. I always bring this up. He's very, very smart. He's very analytical, especially when going over games and executing his own games. What he lacks most, he reminds me a lot of Starduck, is his mechanics. He doesn't have a lot of time to practice the game itself. I believe he's a med student, like many other Chilean players, like Darkness and Dastan. So he does kind of focus on his studies more often than not, and because of that, his mechanics and his sometimes even army control can lack a little bit. But overall, like in the broad strokes, in the grand scheme of things, like it all makes sense in the end. It all makes sense. Oh, it's all about the execution. Can he tighten things up, and can he execute against Tavo? We'll see. We'll find out. Tavo, bold move, by the way. I am shocked. Tavo is going for an SUV scout, which makes sense, but he is skipping his Reaper and he's going for a Marine first. That's crazy. The amount of balls that this man has is insane. To skip the Reaper against Cristiano, I guess he's relying a lot on his SUV to do all the scouting for him, and hoping that there's nothing crazy out on the map, that nothing unorthodox is on the way from Cristiano. So far, so good. So far, so good. Everything is looking on the up and up from our Protoss player. Oh boy. And these are good things for Tavo. Again, like the more standard, the more normal this game is, I want to give credit to Tavo. But we'll see how Cristiano takes this. And I'm curious as to see how his opener changes. Back in the day, like maybe a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, every single TvP, Cristiano, he would just open up with like a forge and like put cannons in his mineral lines. Like he would blindly prepare for widow mines, and it would put himself behind, but he would know that he doesn't have the APM to correctly like split and respond against widow mines, so he would have that like added extra defense against that. I'm curious if he still does things like that, or if he's got, you know, another plan in store for us. As we are going to be seeing, I imagine, Blink here from our Protoss player. We have our Robo on the way as well. As we do not have that Stargate opener, it is the Twilight Council. There it is. Blink on the way, being chronoed out. And it's going to be on Tavo to figure out what's coming his way. At the moment, he's just scouting around the edge of his bases. You know, again, he's well aware of the potential of like a proxy Stargate or a proxy anything really. So he's just making sure he's safe as he goes out across the map. And he himself goes for the 1-1-1. I was curious if he was going to go for a Widowmine drop, but no, it seems like he isn't. He is denied entry. Does scout the Robo though, pretty important. But yeah, opts not to open up with any of that. Instead, he's going for the Raven. With the Raven, again, it is quite safe if there are things like DTs out on the map, but you can also harass with them. Not just harass, but like Ravens, they're just so good. They're just so good in general. Being able to disable, being able to throw down auto turrets, the anti-armor missile as well. It does provide quite a bit of utility, as long as he doesn't lose it needlessly. That's always the risky thing, as he is planning to rally it across the map. For that auto turret harass is to make sure that he keeps it alive, because it would be a pretty big loss if he does end up losing it to the Blink Stalkers. As the Raven does come out for the time being, just Chilean out here with the army. El Mismísimo still just throwing down more gateways, just patrolling the map, getting ready for any kind of drop coming his way. Cristiano is playing a little bit, oh god. He is playing a little bit blind, even more blind because he accidentally rallied his observer into the path of the Raven. I guess it's another added bonus of the Raven is that Tavo is able to completely shut down that initial observer and keep Cristiano in the dark. And that's terrifying because now Cristiano doesn't know when the army moves out. He has units in position for, you know, a drop coming into any of his bases, but mate, there is no drop. Oh boy, that tank count is getting even higher. Now we have 2 tanks in total. Looks like only 2 tanks for the time being though, as we do have the add-on switch. Thank you so much. Oh my god. Massive shout out to ET Pone Home. Hold on, I gotta get rid of a butt. But massive shout out to ET Pone Home. Thank you so much. ET, of course, he is an ex-StarCraft player, an ex-Zerg player, one of the best Zergs in all of America. Hope you enjoyed your stream. I don't know what you were streaming, but I hope it was StarCraft. Regardless, hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, thank you for the raid. Thank you. If you're joining us from ET's stream, then we are casting Sentimiento Latino. This is a Latin American only tournament, and we are here in the quarterfinals. We already have a finalist, !me in the chat if you want to have a look at the bracket yourselves, to see how the tournament has progressed over time. But yes, the winner of this series will go up against the Colombian player Eggs. Oh boy. But until then, this game has honestly been pretty passive. Like, obviously, Cristiano has been hyper paranoid about drops, so he's been defending at home. But now, finally, that the threat of drops has ended, he's pushing out across the map with these Stalkers, looking to deny any kind of third base, if there is one. Speaking of, third base has now commenced for Tavo. Honestly, a little bit late here, but I imagine Tavo just wanted to be safe and secure here on 2 bases. He's got his 2 tanks, he's covering his main and his natural base, he's got plenty of army, and now he's looking to push out, especially now that +1 has finished. The army has been spotted here by Cristiano. And it's not just +1 stim, combat shield, even concussive shell. All of this is done for Tavo. I would have assumed that he would have pushed out, but I don't know if it's wise to push out with only 2 tanks. So again, he may have just been playing this scared and looking to just slowly expand and take a third. Meanwhile, we were talking about drops earlier. Finally, the first drops of the game are moving out across the map. They have to be careful. I was about to say they have to be careful because of the watchtower, but Tavo does maintain control of that tower. So yeah, he's free to just zoom his way across the map. Meanwhile, finally, the War Prism is now here for Cristiano. I feel like an opportunity to blink into the main base has kind of come and gone. Maybe. Both tanks have been rotated over towards the natural base alongside so many Widow Mines. Jesus Christ. But this does mean that the main is looking vulnerable. Like, if Cristiano wanted to, the opportunity to maybe blink into the main and get damage done is there. Regardless, he could still just warp in straight into the main. But at the same time, speaking of the main, we do have a massive drop into the main base of Cristiano. The cannon goes down immediately. That was the cannon we were talking about earlier. We may even see a recall here as everything gets taken out. Even 9 probes. The entire army turns around. Feels bad, man, as we do not have enough NG for recall. Zealots are slowly going to be able to force this back, but this forces Cristiano completely out of position, and now Tavo is on the move. Oh boy, and this is a terrifying army. Again, so many Widow Mines. Zealots are going to have such a hard time engaging with this. Third base, it's going to go down. We'll see if it will. Cristiano's going to try and engage with this. Does drag a bunch of the Widow Mine shots. Still so many of these Stalkers. War Prism goes down immediately. And is there enough? Can he get on top of the tanks? Up. It looks like he barely will. Oh, he has no high ground vision. And at the same time, there's still that double drop in the main base. Tavo is pulling Cristiano apart. He cannot defend on 2 fronts at once, and he has to give up one of them. And he just doesn't know which one. He doesn't want to lose his third. He blinks on top of the tanks, and he will take out this army. But the Widow Mine shots are going to reset. Oh! A lot of these Stalkers do go down. We're going to be seeing a recall to get back into the main base. Cristiano will defend. But at what cost? He lost so much in the process. The Widow Mines are not done. Oh, God. We need detection, Papi. Where's the detection? We have 0. We don't have an Overseer. We don't have an Observer. We don't have any cannons in position either. The cannon in the main got sniped. And that is it. GG gets caught just like that. Tavo takes the first game. GG. Oh my god. I was building a Lego set blindfolded. Oh my god. Crazy. I was building a Lego set blindfolded. I'm considering rejoining the ladder though now that there are patches again. Dankies. I was about to bring that up as well. Hey, just so you know, the game is being patched. We have the first of many patches live. So if you wanted to come back to StarCraft, it's there. If you were a queen walking connoisseur, now is not the time to come back to StarCraft. Because queen walking is no longer a thing. It's no longer a thing in ZVP. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. But yes, if you wanted to come back, now would be a great opportunity to do so. Still plenty of StarCraft going on. Still another year of EPT ahead of us. And still plenty of tournaments like the one we have here. Very well played by Tavo. A very unique style as well. Like usually you see like a bio tank move out, but he had a lot of Widow Mines incorporated, kind of blindly countering the sheer number of zealots that Cristiano had. So yeah, that was just a really well thought out push from Tavo. And Cristiano, a little bit lackluster when it comes to the execution of his own build. He was struggling to even deal with the double drop. Like his mass investment into all those Blink Stalkers didn't really come to fruition. He couldn't really shut down any of the drops. He didn't blink into the main. He just didn't do anything with them. So yeah, that was a little bit rough for our Protoss player. And I just now realized, if you're a fan of Protoss, Cristiano is the only Protoss player left in the entire tournament. Only just now clicking in my mind that, you know, Eggs, he knocked out Infanson, right? Ryu knocked out Master, and Parker Mike didn't sign up, and Shaq D didn't sign up. So like, you know, what other Protoss players are there? It's just Cristiano. That's it. That's all we got. Oof. Ay. So we'll see. We'll see how Protoss is able to prevail here. I mean, you know, it goes both ways, right? Cristiano's the only Protoss. That was the only Terran. You know, that there can be only one. Feels bad, man. When it comes to Zerg, we got plenty of Zerg. We got two Zerg. We have Eggs and Ryu. But again, it's going to be a tough battle for either one of these two players to go up against Eggs. Like, Eggs, he is a beast whenever he is in form. Again, we kind of missed him last week. We don't really know what happened, but hopefully everything is okay, and hopefully he has still been practicing and keeping up. I think here we're still waiting for the moment. We're still waiting for the moment for Eggs to, like, rebirth, if you will, like the way he did in 2020. 2020 was like the year of Eggs. Like, God, like I've spoken about it with Yoda time and time again. Like, that was his year. And then of course he took a bit of a step back. You know, there was the era of League of Legends. League of Legends on his stream feels bad, man. But this it feels like the return. I like, from based on the performance of Eggs this year, it feels like he's a little bit more active, maybe a little bit more motivated compared to last year. Man, maybe I'm just wrong with that feeling. Maybe it is the case. It's hard to tell. But hopefully he's able to make his return. But before we get to his return, we are getting into game number 2 of our quarterfinals match. Oh boy. Is this where it all ends, or are we going to the ace? If you are a Zerg, come back because Protoss is dead. Oh god. Soundo with the Protoss propaganda. Oh god. Ay. Alright. Well, here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Blackburn LE, we have our player who is currently leading this series 1-0. We have the Peruvian Terran representing Unidos por el Vicio. It is Tavo. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Blackburn LE, we have El Mismísimo himself, the Chilean Protoss player. He is red, representing Exeritus Ignat. It is Cristiano. CristianoX. Oh boy. I'm worried. I'm scared. I'm getting flashbacks. The last time we casted these two players on this very map, Cristiano went for Proxy Tempest. And it was brutal. It was a brutal sight to behold. The Tempest just sieged away and killed everything, and Tavo just didn't necessarily have the best response. He didn't know what was happening. He didn't know what was going on until it was too late. I doubt we're gonna see that again, but you know, that is always in the back of my mind, and if it's in the back of my mind, I'm sure it's in the back of Tavo's. Oh boy. As we do see the SCV dodging, bobbing, weaving through the slow zones, getting across the map, scouting his opponents, and once again, Tavo does skip that Reaper and does go for the Marine first instead. So being quite a bit greedy, you know, conserving his gas and, you know, not caring as much about scouting his opponent, relying a lot more on that SCV, and yeah, hopefully he doesn't, you know, he doesn't get punished for it. That is the hope anyway. Oh boy. As we do see the Cyber Core being thrown out. So far, everything is looking pretty standard from the side of Cristiano. He doesn't have a probe out on the map for any kind of proxy. Not yet, anyway. Not yet. And he did end up going for that expansion. So, yeah, things are looking pretty standard from both ends. I wonder if they made a deal before the game. I wonder if Tavo was like, hey, no proxy. And Cristiano was like, what do you mean? I'm an honorable player. What are you talking about? Shaking my head. As so far he's opening up just like game number 1. Cristiano is going for that Twilight Council. I imagine for Blink, it's going to be wild if he doesn't go for Blink. If he goes for something else instead, like DTs or like Lave Adepts, which are, again, something rare and even rarer that you don't really see in this matchup. Early on, I should say. But we'll see. We'll see. Once again, not going for the Stargate. It makes sense. Typically, Stargate openers from Protoss and PvT are reserved for the larger maps. Maps like Glittering Ashes or Pride of Altaris. Maps where you can kind of get away with minimal units early on and being able to be aggressive across the map. It's kind of hard to justify that on a map like Blackburn. As that Marine count is slowly getting higher and higher. Once again, Robo is thrown down. So, yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. When I think of Cristiano, I think of someone who has a very diverse array of builds at their disposal. A diverse array of all-ins and openers and compositions. He isn't kind of... You can't really pin us one specific style to him. At least that's not how I perceive Cristiano. So I'm a little bit surprised that he's been doing the same thing here. A little bit disappointed, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see where this takes us. Once again, Tavo does try to slip in. He did spot that probe, by the way, so he has an inkling that his opponent wants to expand and take a third base, and that should give Tavo a bit of a sigh of relief. This is kind of what I wanted in the last game. If you remember, in game number 1, both players delayed their third base for a long time. In comparison, this third is so fast compared to game number 1, which I appreciate. You know, it goes to show that, okay, I'm not going to play the same way. I'm going to make sure I don't pigeonhole myself into a position where I've just overinvested in army and it just didn't pay for itself and I'm just behind. No. Cristiano, he's expanding. He's playing this more straight up. I approve. Meanwhile, over on the side of Tavo, again, still kind of the same thing. You know, he's working on his tank production, has 1 tank to begin with. Just like the previous game, he also opened up with a Raven, so very, very similar. And hopefully this time Cristiano doesn't needlessly lose his Observer. Oh god, oh no! 2 games in a row. 2 games in a row. The Raven of Tavo paying for itself. It's not just about the lack of scouting, it's also the fact that that initial observer is so important when it comes to having eyes on a move out. If Tavo pushes out on 2 bases, Cristiano, he needs something. He needs something here to scout that. He needs something to confirm that. Otherwise, he's just going to fall over and die just because of how greedy he's being, just because of this third base. We'll see. He does have a backup observer this time, but it is in position to scout a drop, not so much a move out. He does have a 3rd observer on the way, so again, he is working on all this vision and detection, but not exactly where he would have wanted it to be. Meanwhile, we still have all of our upgrades on the way. I'm really curious to see, once these upgrades finish, if Tavo moves out or if he throws down a 3rd CC. Obviously, last game, he kind of did both. So I guess you can do both, but you know, Tavo, he can hit a pretty strong timing if he does move out with +1. As we see a bit of a scan, Tavo confirms, all right, you're fully saturated on 3 bases. This is a juicy target for my push. And mate, I think it's go time. I think we gotta go. He is throwing down a 3rd CC behind this, so again, not a 2-base all in. There is a transition ahead of us. Interestingly enough, this is very different to last game. If you remember, by the time Tavo pushed out, last game he had like 6 Widow Mines. He had an obscene amount of Widow Mines. Here this time he did delay his Widow Mine production a little bit more. He's still going for them, but again, much later compared to the previous game. And by the time he moves out, like, his army is still terrifying. Like, what does Cristiano have? Oh god, please. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god, get out of here. He does blink back. But again, Tavo has a massive supply lead. We do see a warping in response. We do see 1 shield battery, but is 1 shield battery really gonna be enough? We're gonna find out. The Blink Stalker micro is okay, but the anti-armor missile connects with the entire army. Overcharge is being popped, but it may not even matter, especially because of the anti-armor missile. And just like that, the shield battery gets targeted down. There was only 1 shield battery here at the 3rd base, and Tavo, he can just keep on going. Every single Stalker goes down, mate. We do have another warp in. Yo, the surround? The Zealots come in just in time. And it looks like it's going to be enough. Again, we only had 2 Widow Mines. The rest of the Widow Mines were on the way, so Cristiano is going to hold. The Zealots are the real MVPs. A couple more Widow Mine shots are going off. Finally, all the Zealots get cleaned up. Again, imagine if all those Widow Mines were with the army. They're completely different fights. But Cristiano holds. And what's important is that he kept the majority of his workers alive. He's gotten away with the greed. He's well ahead when it comes to the economy, well ahead when it comes to the worker count. I mean, look how red this graph is. And Cristiano, he's even feeling confident enough to take another base. He's got a 4th on the way. Why not? Now, is he overextending here? I would be a little bit tentative about this, but yo, he knows his advantages, right? He reset the tank count. He reset the Widow Mine count. He forces the liftoff on the base. He can keep going. He can keep being annoying at least until the Widow Mine show up. He reinforces his army. He gets another wave of Zealots. Now the friendly fire. The Widow Mine shots are going to go up. Ooh, they do connect with the Zealots. And is it enough? Can Cristiano break his opponent? He targets down the Raven. Oh, and we have another wave of reinforcements, but it looks like it's not going to be enough. It looks like Tavo has held for the time being. But again, that's okay for Cristiano. He's got a base. He's got the worker lead. It's not just the base. It's a gold base at that. So over time, he can just overwhelm Tavo because he has the momentum. Tavo needs something else to come back. He has medevacs. He's got Widow Mines. It's a very difficult call to make, but going for a drop right now would be amazing. He just doesn't necessarily have the supply to do so. He doesn't have the freedom because the Stalkers are just waiting outside his base. Like, he can't afford to go for a jump. And I feel like Cristiano knows that that Widow Mine count is getting pretty high, though. Is there a world where we have the juiciest of Widow Mine shots? They're okay. We take out the majority of the Zealots. Not bad, not bad. Bunker did go down, though. At least this time the Widow Mines are able to survive and maybe get some more shots up. Man, I would love a War Prism. Cristiano, he just keeps warping it at home and just waddling across the map. But finally, he backs off. Tavo has a little bit more breathing room. He starts 2-2. It's on the way. Ghost Academy finishes up as well. There we go. Enhanced shockwaves. We have those EMPs available to us. Oh, Tavo, he's desperately holding on. He's doing it. It's happening. The downside, though, is that he doesn't see this. Okay, never mind. He does have a sensor tower. He spots the army rotating around. The Widow Mines are not in the best position. Ooh. A little bit of friendly fire. A lot of friendly fire. Uh-oh. The majority of the Marines actually got taken out by the Widow Mines. Only the Marauders are left. Funada, the Widow Mines. The friendly fire. Oh, God. You have to appreciate the minefield, though, right? Like, look at it. Oh, God. Yo, the Widow Mine shots are being reset. They're resetting. Cristiano, you gotta get out of here. You need detection. You need something here with your army. There we go. Observer finally rocks up a little bit too late. But that minefield is impressive. Now we've got Liberators coming out, Ghosts coming out. Because all those Widow Mines survived from the earlier engagements, now there are just so many available. Is pure mind gonna do it? He blinks into the minefield! Cristiano! Not like this! Oh my god. Shaking my head. He blinks into the minefield, loses almost everything. Is there enough bio to keep on pushing? It doesn't seem to be the case, but he does snipe the observer, so no detection. Despite that, I love this. Cristiano, he's avoiding the minefield. He's going straight into the natural base. Boys are being forced off the line. It doesn't look like it's going to be enough, though. The reinforcements are just far too much. Despite the economic advantage, like, Cristiano cannot overwhelm his opponent. He's been trying. He's trying to brute force his way through and just batter his opponent into submission. It's just not working, though. He needs to back off and he needs to tech up. Like, what do we need? We need splash damage. We need maybe disruptors, storm. We need something else. Disruptors more than storm because we already have ghosts. But even a transition, maybe even into sky toss to help deal with the liberators. More than just gateway units, which is what Cristiano has just been, you know, faced like just smashing into a wall. The time for gateway units have come and gone. You know, there was a window where maybe you could have ended the game earlier. But now Tavo, he's got a 4th base. He's still down in bases, down in workers, but we'll see. Bunkers were set up beforehand. Oh, the storms are coming in! The storms, are they gonna be enough? Oh my god, another storm connects on the minefield. We have detection this time. Oh, he needs more zealots though. He needs more army. Get a goddamn war prism. It takes so long for the zealots to run all the way from across the map. Shaking my head. The ghost? Let's get one of the ghosts for free. Nicely done. EMP does connect with the stalkers, but now the zealots are coming in, and mate, here there are no widow mines. The widow mines are all on the left hand side. Another storm, another storm! Another storm, puppy! Ah! Storm does connect with the army. In comes Cristiano into the natural base, and is this going to be enough? He's finally broken through. He has the high ground, but he's also caught between two armies, the army and the reinforcements. Does he have enough? If he had a war prism, maybe, but this is all he has to work with. Oh, he does snipe a lot of these medevacs. Oh god, barely is able to reset that army. The zealots once again have just ran from his base. Ay, ay, ay. And he may have done it. He may have finally broken the Terran player. GG gets called. And Cristiano takes game number 2. I was so worried that he was overextending. I was so worried that Cristiano was tunnel visioning too much. Like, he smelled blood in the water and he kept going for it. But Tavo, he just kept barely holding every single time. But there were a couple of moments there where, you know, maybe a little bit too much Widowmine friendly fire. There was some nice positioning for Cristiano, avoiding the majority of the Widowmines whenever he could. Storm was huge, by the way. Thankfully, he did tech up into Storm, and the Storms were a game changer. Oh. GG. It was messy. It was a slugfest. But Cristiano, he takes it to the ace match. Oh boy. Did they say that's Cristiano? It's Cristiano. He's a Polish player. Cristiano is a Chilean. It's very similar names, and sometimes I do think that I say Cristiano, sometimes like Cristiano a little bit too much, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that's me, or I don't know if that's like just what people hear, because Cristiano is more of a well-known player, so they associate it. Maybe it's a little bit of both. Yes, we have a very different Protoss player here. Very different. Oh boy. And here we go. We have our ace match. One of these two players will move on to the semi-finals. Eggs has been patiently waiting for the winner of this series, and I hope they're okay. Not just Eggs, but also Ryu. I know it's getting pretty late, especially in Europe, where Ryu is, and even in Latin America as well. It's getting pretty late as well. So hope you're drinking coffee, getting some water, stretching your roaches, hydrating your hydras, taking care of yourselves while you do wait for your series. And here we go. I just realized I didn't update the Twitch title. There we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Pride of Altades LE, we have the Peruvian Terran player representing Unidos por el Vicio. Oh god. There we go. Tying up the series with a tied up series 1-1. Can he close it all out here in the ace match? It is Tavo. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Pride of Altades LE, we have the Chilean Protoss player, El Mismísimo, representing Exeritus Ignat. He is not Cristiano, it is Cristiano. Let's go. And he's going for a proxy. He's doing it. Let's go. We've had some pretty stock standard games so far, but this time we do see a proxy. Just a proxy gateway so far. No gases have been taken. There we go. Finally, our first gas is on the way. But I'm very curious to see how Cristiano approaches this. Meanwhile, SCV Scout once again, is Tavo going to skip the Reaper as he has been doing this series? Go. SCV moving out across the map. And I'm really curious to see what this is. What is this? Is he going to proxy the Cybercore as well, or just throw it down at home? It is going to be a Marine, so he's not going for that Reaper once again. Pro being very annoying. Delaying that CC a little bit. And we are going to be having a Zealot, and the goal of this Zealot is to waddle up this ramp, right-click that SCV, delay the CC, maybe. Ideal scenario, cancel the CC. Oh my god. Oh my god. So we had an SCV Scout, and Tavo confirms that there is a proxy gateway. So he has none of it. He just cancels. And I'm sure Cristiano's like, yo, let's go. I got what I wanted. This Zealot has paid for itself. Alright, the Zealot swipes away a little bit at the reactor, but again, now Cristiano, he can back off. CC is being remade. What is important though? A very important thing is that Cristiano doesn't know about the CC. Like, for all he knows, the CC was cancelled, and Tavo is going for like a 1-1-1 or like a 2-1 or something. You know, he's just making nothing but army, and he's gonna like go for an all-in or something. Like, he doesn't have eyes on the CC that is being rebuilt. So he's going to be a little bit afraid, a little bit scared. What I will say, though, is that that scenario of the Terran player going for a more one-base style, being forced into one base and delaying their CC, is not really something that Tavo does. That is out of character for the kind of player that he is. So I'm sure Cristiano is feeling safe. I mean, Cristiano, he even confirms the bunker on top of the ramp as well. Like, yeah, he is safe to expand, take a natural base, take a pretty big economic lead, because he's going to have such a massive worker lead, and move on into Blink. Like, this is a great start for our Protoss player. Imagine Zealots chanting while they march all the way across the map. I imagine that's what they were doing. They were singing the Chilean national anthem, mate. That's what they were doing. God damn it, Cristiano. Who needs a Warp Prism? You know, just run your units across the map. That's all you got to do. That's what Terran does. Why not Protoss as well? But Tavo has to do a lot to catch back up here. He is investing into Banshees. So again, these Cloaked Banshees, their role is to try and even up the drone counts, because again, emphasis on the worker count. It's so important for Tavo to deal some damage, and even the Hellion getting a couple of probe kills, this is not bad. This is pretty necessary. Like, Cristiano had over a 10 worker lead, and now losing 3 probes. This is a great start here for Tavo when it comes to coming back into this game. First we have the Hellion, next is going to be the Banshees. Hopefully the Banshee doesn't reveal itself. Not quite, not yet. Tavo has to be very careful with his army movements. Again, this Banshee has to deal damage. At the moment, we don't have any cannons. We are going to have detection with this Observer. We do have Blink Stalkers as well, so Cristiano, he does have what he needs to defend at home. Are they going to be in position, though? He's actually getting ready in the main base, not the natural. And the natural happens to be where that first Banshee is going. So Tavo is going to get a couple of kills. The probe does spot the Banshee. Cristiano, response, 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 no response. Banshee comes in. Oh, and now he sees it. Now he knows he's warping in a couple of Stalkers at his natural base. He has more in his main as well. He has 2 observers. This Banshee is not dealing any damage. Oof. Oh, is this how it ends? Is this how it ends? We have another Banshee in the middle of the map. Sure, that's great and all, but Cristiano has defended fairly well. Sure, he lost units to the Hellion. That was his first slip up. But outside of that, he's still looking very strong. Third base is already on the way on location. Tavo, I kind of want him to pull the boys. He's not going to, like, but I wish he did. Oh, God. Here we go. Banshee's about to rock up. There's a world where this Banshee, if it cloaks, it could snipe this sentry, which would be pretty huge. But again, Tavo, he's playing this safer. He backs off instead. He's going to get control of the middle of the map. This also confirms to Cristiano, there's still a Banshee out there. I need to be careful. I may even get some cannons, and there we go. We do have a cannon being thrown down at the third. We may have one in the main just to make sure that the Banshees don't do any damage when Cristiano finally does move out. Oh boy. Meanwhile, Tavo is finally cleaning up this proxy. He finally has his eyes on it. Gonna be able to depower said gateway. Third CC is on the way. And quickly checking the units here, it looks like this time Tavo did not go for the Raven, so these observers are going to be that much safer. For the first time this series, the first observer by Cristiano doesn't die, and he actually sees the army. He sees everything. 2 tanks, third CC on the way, the army moving out. Now, he doesn't know for certain that the army is coming across the map, but he's preparing nonetheless. There we go. His army is repositioning. He needs to make sure he's ready for a drop into the main as well, because there is always that potential with those medevacs. But, Cristiano, he just confirms that the army is still chilling here outside, establishing that third. Where are you going? Was this an all-army hotkey? Like, you shouldn't be coming home. You need to be out on the map, buddy. Exclamation mark Funada, this observer. Cristiano, he's putting himself in the dark right now. Finally, he's resending out his observers. There we go. Turns back around. Shaking my head. That's a little bit scary. Here we go. Double drop headed across the map. Oh my god, is Cristiano gonna spot it? Oh my god, the observer positioning is just too good. He spots the double drop. Intercept. Intercept. Cristiano? He confirms. By the way, he turns around with his stalkers, and I mean, there are stalkers in the main anyway. He doesn't even carry blinks. Ooh, almost snipes the medevac. Gasito, gasito. Tavo, he doesn't find any damage here, not yet. But finally, the army seems to be moving out. But if it does, Cristiano sees everything again. Oh my god. There is no excuses not to be ready. He spots the army. It's on the way. It's headed towards the bottom left-hand side of the map. It's going to be able to regroup with these medevacs. Cristiano, he was in the middle of trying to intercept them. What do we have to defend? We have a Colossus. Extended Thermal Lance should finish up by the time the fight starts, especially because it is being chronoed out. Same with +2, so the upgrades are beautifully lined up for this. But we only have 1 Colossus. Is that going to be enough? And, Tavo is getting up onto the high ground. Cristiano, he doesn't see. Now he does. The army has been able to position. The Winter Mines have all borrowed. Oh my god, Cristiano, be careful. The Winter Mine shots go off. Oh, they clean up a lot of the Zealots. He is still getting on top of the tanks, though. There's only 1 tank remaining, and it looks like soon to be 0 tanks remaining. Every single tank goes down. There's only a bio army left, but where was the detection? There was none. So the minefield is going to reset. We need this observer back here soon, ASAP. The Winter Mine shots, they're gonna go off again. They're gonna go off again. Ah! Oh, the Colossus! The Colossus! Somehow, some way, the Colossus survive. Only single shots go off on them. The minefield gets cleaned up, and Cristiano is looking poised to counterattack. He defended, he deflected the attack, and now it's time to go across the map. What do we have at home to defend? The tank count was reset, the Widowmine count was reset, there's only 2 Widowmines remaining. Ghosts are on the way. 4 Widowmines remaining, I should say. Ghosts are on the way. Are the ghosts going to be enough? That is the question. We don't have enhanced shockwaves. Ugh. I think the Colossus are going to be too much. There are not enough Vikings either. There's only 1 Viking remaining. Boys are being forced off the line. That's how desperate Tavo is right now. Oh, the Zealots waddle across the map. Who needs a Warp Prism? Not Cristiano. He never needs a Warp Prism. Oh, God. As 22 SCVs have gone down. Not like this. EMPs are going to go off, but it doesn't even matter. Because the Colossus stands strong. Not like this. More Zealots run across the map. The Zealot rally. It just keeps coming. And there's just not enough Terran on the ground. We are entering a world where Cristiano is advancing onto the semifinals. He will be the last remaining Protoss, and he will kill the last Terran scam. GG. Wrong button, hold on. Congratulations to Cristiano, as he does take down the last Terran hope in the tournament and moves on to the semifinals. I saw the awful joke in the chat. Don't think you got away with it. It would be the snipe of the century. The snipe of the century. Oh god. Awful. Awful. But GG, well played. My heart goes out to Tavo. Tavo was robbed from his series. I would have loved to have seen Tavo versus Eggs. Who doesn't love a TVZ? They're so dynamic, they're so back and forth. They're great to watch, they're great to play. That's not what we're getting. We're getting a PVZ. F's in the chat. F's in the chat for our Terran player Tavo. And I guess congratulations to Cristiano. He moves on to the semifinals, and we'll see how this goes. Again, I'm always going to say this, but you know, Cristiano's opponent is better well-rounded as a player, but Cristiano, he's very smart. He can be very, very cheeky, very talented. I'm sure he's going to be abusing Skytoss here. And now the question becomes, can Eggs stop Cristiano? Eggs is a phenomenal player. He's one of the best Zerg players in all of Latin America. Up there with Cham, Ryu, Jim Rising. Eggs is one of the best. But ZVP. ZVP. It gets the better of us sometimes, you know? It can happen. I'm curious. I haven't seen too much of Eggs' ZVP recently. Maybe a month ago, we casted Eggs versus Paco Mike. But Paco Mike is also a unique player. He's very unique in his own right. Very stylistic is what I should say. Very different to Cristiano, so we'll see. We'll see. If Eggs was up against a Terran or a Zerg, I'd be like, yeah, Eggs, he's got this. He's 100%. He's got this. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Unless it's Ryu, you know, bias. The bias is real. But against Cristiano, I'm a little bit worried. I do think that Eggs is still the favorite, but you know, Cristiano can make anything happen, apparently. Thank you so much for the sub. Subscribing for 4 months in a row. Well played, Cristiano. Love for everyone. That's another thing I should say, is that Tavo and Cristiano, they are good friends. They do practice together, so there's no hard feelings between them. You know, it is a bit of a shame one of them has to knock out the other, right? But you know, I'm sure they're still laughing at each other. God, Sub is one of them. Sub is one of that Chilean clique that they have. Oh boy. PBZ, awesome. Of course you would say that, Soundo. Of course you would say that. Oh boy.